Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor Part 18 based on novel. So let's start. Damn it. I didn't expect that Xiao Yan would be so ruthless when he made a move. According to his family's information, it's not that he has superb refining skills, so that we can capture him back. I didn't expect it to be so tricky. Looking at the 23-color delicate lotus seeds that came slowly not far away, Wu Huanguang felt an incomparably powerful sense of crisis from it. Wu Huan clenched his teeth fiercely, his pupils shrank tightly, but he didn't dare to be slighted anymore. A deep shout suddenly came from his throat, and immediately the fiery red battle chi poured out of his body, and finally turned into there was a huge crimson fire cloud that was 100 feet long. As for his figure, he was in the center of the fire cloud, with some flames churning all around him, making a loud rumbling sound like waves crashing on the rocks in the sea, which made people feel a little depressed. That feeling is like facing the endless sea alone, making people unable to show the slightest courage to resist. The fiery red fire clouds filled the sky, and the fiery temperature enveloped the sky, but even so, compared to Xiao Yang's Buddha's furious fire lotus, which contained 23 kinds of different fires, it was not worth mentioning. Yi Hua has the terrifying power to change the world and the environment of a party. This is indeed true. With all the efforts, the surrounding area in the depths of the demonic beast mountains suddenly seemed to have been dry for a long time. Even the moisture in the air was evaporated. When the dry air was breathed into the body, a burst of air came from the throat. Painful dryness. Go. His eyes stared at the huge fire cloud that filled the sky and the earth under the display of martial arts. The whole body trembled slightly, and then a screeching sound that cut through the space suddenly erupted, turning into a colorful streamer, mixed with a terrifying and unparalleled hot wind, overwhelming the sky and covering the fiery red sea of fire in the distance. Fire cloud. Cohesion. Triple Rashomon Gate. With a dignified expression, Wu Huan looked at the colorful streamer that burst forth. Wu Huan did not dare to hesitate at all. With a movement of his handprint, a shout came out from his throat. Immediately, the huge cloud of fire suddenly violently churned up, and the flames whistled and swirled. It turned out to be a feint, condensed into 3 huge light mirrors in front of him. The appearance of these 3-sided mirrors. In front of Wu Huan, a 3-layer powerful defense was formed. Although it directly caused Wu Huan's complexion to lose some blood in an instant, but obviously, this thing consumes a lot of vindictive energy. The mirror is huge and square in shape, but it has a powerful force that is slowly gathering momentum. Even Xiao Yang was taken aback when the huge 3-piece prism-shaped mirror, composed of fiery red fighting chi, appeared. He didn't expect this martial art to have such superb defensive means. Xiao Yang asked himself, I'm afraid even now, it is difficult for him to condense such complicated defense methods using strange fire or fighting chi. This Wu Huan is indeed worthy of being called the proud son of heaven, and he really has something special. Xiao Yang was surprised at the moment, but the Buddha Fury Hualian, who had already locked on the target, did not hesitate at all. It was like a teleportation. In a few flashes, it was not far from Wu Huan. The terrifying strong wind, even Wu Huan. The fiery red fire clouds that filled the sky beside him were slightly rippling. Defend. Looking at the oncoming terrifying fire lotus with an extremely dignified expression, Wu Huan's handprint suddenly changed, and with a low voice, the 3-sided huge prism formed by its condensed energy emitted a ray of light like the dawn of dawn out of thin air. Immediately, it was firmly resisted in front of Wu Huan, as indestructible as a copper wall and an iron wall, as if he was not afraid to let the fire lotus collide fiercely. The distance between the two reached in an instant. Immediately, 2 terrifying energies that were enough to burn mountains and boil the sea collided like meteors in the nerves of Xiao Yang, and Han Feng suddenly tense. Bang! The two are in contact. The entire Warcraft mountain range was silent, and then the energy between the heaven and the earth suddenly rioted, and the splendid energy flew everywhere. It seemed that they were all madly escaping from the impacted area. The energy of the sudden riot between the heavens and the earth made even the powerhouses far away from the demonic beast mountains stop their movements in panic, looking at the battle that was far away in the sky with unbelievable horror in their eyes. Looking at this, are some overlords in the depths of the Warcraft mountains fighting for their territory again. An old man looked at the huge explosion in the distance and couldn't help but say, "This is Wua. Didn't he say that he went to the depths of the Warcraft mountains to hunt monsters by himself?" Looking at the fluctuations, he was obviously fighting against others. Fourth, take some people to take a look, just in case, the other kid who fought Wua. In Wucheng, a middle-aged man exuding a monstrous atmosphere above the tiger seat, facing him a pale middle-aged man compared an action. The palm of the hand is spread across the neck. Yes. The figure also looked at the appearance of the city lord, and nodded knowingly. This fluctuation. It's Xiao Yang. Father, let's go. You girl, look at you in a hurry. A stalwart figure and a familiar figure were both Yueru and Yueyu. Boom. The silence only lasted for a moment, and a cataclysm-like energy storm erupted from a certain center point like a storm. The terrifying flame energy storm spread almost 100 meters away. Since the Buddha's furious fire lotus exploded, the terrifying power spread instantly. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying power of different fires and the defensive power of the three-sided light mirror viciously merged together. The Buddha's fury lotus flew towards the light mirror under Xiao Yang's control tilde. When it touched the first light mirror, Xiao Yang flicked it, and then the gorgeous Buddha's fury lotus was completely destroyed. Explode. Bang, bang, bang. At the moment when the Buddha's furious fire lotus exploded, the terrifying high temperature spread, and the terrifying power directly smashed the first light mirror away, and then hit the second light mirror with great force. The terrifying high temperature of the Buddha's furious fire lotus was mixed with extraordinary destructive power. After breaking through the first light mirror, it slammed into the second light mirror viciously, with a circle of fighting spirits of hundreds of meters. Practice rippling out from the collision of the two. The Buddha's furious fire lotus that Xiao Yang has condensed is constantly attacking, and Wu Huan is also mobilizing the vindictive energy of his whole body, desperately condensing towards the remaining two light mirrors of the three-layered Rashomon, trying to defend against the terrifying power of flames. Attack. After Xiao Yang's condensed Buddha's fury fire lotus broke through the first defensive light mirror, the power also weakened in waves. Obviously the so-called triple Rashomon's defense is also extremely powerful. However, Xiao Yang also snorted coldly, and then the burning dew in his body started to run wildly, and the overwhelming milky white flame fighting chi poured into the fire lotuses that were slowly resisting each other in the arena. Now that we have a vengeance, in order to prevent future troubles, this martial arts has only one end. Die. The battle in mid-air continues. Wu Huan and Xiao Yang obviously used their trump cards when they played against each other. The Buddha's anger fire lotus exploded completely, and the terrifying flame ripples first broke through the first light mirror in an instant, and then the remaining power also roared away towards the second light mirror, its majestic and vicious smashing. Above the second light mirror. Bang, bang, bang. The terrifying power, after the explosion of the Buddha's furious fire lotus suddenly formed an energy dragon surrounded by milky white flames under Xiao Yang's skillful control. Hit its mirror. Damn. Seeing this, Wu Huan also secretly said that such a situation is completely unfavorable to him. He is the only one who knows the state of his body best. If he cultivated his strength through hard work, then the triple Solomon that he displayed, even if Xiao Yan is a 4-star Do Emperor now, can't help him, it's just. Hey, this rash omen is an extremely superb existence in defense methods. Legend has it that there are 7 levels of rash omen. Once the 7 levels are released, it can instantly cover a space of 100 miles, even if it is a peak of Do Emperor. No. It's comparable to God-level fighting skills. However, this boy named Wu Huan in front of him is full of fiery red aura, but he actually has an ethereal taste. Even the triple rash omen, which is comparable to the attack of a 4-star Do Emperor powerhouse, can't resist the power of your strange fire. The voice of the Golden Dragon King sounded from Xiao Yang's heart. And the aura of this martial arts is somewhat similar to the ghost you killed before. Although it was hidden deeply, I still discovered some of it. Oh. Hearing this, Xiao Yang was also a little surprised. So it's logical to say so, no wonder this Wu Huan has been deliberately dealing with himself. Go. Xiao Yang, who knew the truth, also smiled slightly, then flicked his finger on it, and several 7-color fire lotuses flew towards the battle. Although it is only a 7-color fire lotus, its power should not be underestimated, but this is not because Xiao Yang deliberately did not use the 23-color Buddha's Wrath fire lotus. In fact, the Buddha's anger fire lotus fused with 23 different fires consumes a lot of vindictive energy. Xiao Yang's current Do Qigong method is only at the high level of the sky. He can't use a few times to integrate the Buddha's Fury Fire Lotus. He must also keep Do Qi in case of emergency, to prevent this martial arts from leaving behind. The milky white energy dragon and the second light mirror shattered in a stalemate for a few minutes, shattering in an instant like glass shatters, and then the dragon also took advantage of the situation to move towards the last light mirror. The last light mirror is obviously the one with the most powerful defense. Ha. You are really extraordinary from the lower planes. Wu Huan also roared when he saw Xiao Yang, who had broken his 2 Solomon defenses one after another, but anyone could hear it, and it was obvious in Wu Huan's voice also dignified. If this last Solomon is defeated, then Wu Huan will also be defeated. Hearing that, Xiao Yang also shrank his pupils tightly, and then looked at Wu Huan in surprise. Although he came from the lower plane, he has never told the secret to anyone else. With Qing Yuan's strength of Do Xing, of course he would not know, and Qing Yuan is still in a coma, and the other is the Alchemist Association. Needless to say, it can be known from the fact that Yueru did not hesitate to protect the law in the ruins before. Oh, Wu Huan, what do you mean by that? Xiao Yang also asked suspiciously. Ha, don't act like a fool with me. If others don't know, how can I still know? Is it easy to absorb the power of the previous magic shadow? Wu Huan's face also became hideous, and then his fiery red aura slowly wrapped around his light mirror. The last Solomon became stronger under the blessing of Wu Huan. This person can't stay. Xiao Yang also heard something different from Wu Huan's words. It seems that there should be problems in this Wuqing. Xiao Yang dared to take me a trick. Under the protection of the dazzling Solomon, Wu Huan also laughed, because Xiao Yang in front of him was only the strength of the middle stage of the 3-star Do Emperor, and he was the peak of the dignified 3-star Do Emperor. To deal with this kind of person, Wu Huan has a lot of power. The big self-confidence is sure to kill with one blow, so I can't help but say. I can't ask for it. Xiao Yang also poured an extremely tyrannical force on his flame giant dragon at the end, and then he didn't control the giant dragon, and let the giant dragon rampage, and hit the last Solomon's sturdy light mirror. The giant dragon wrapped in milky white flame viciously hit the sturdy fiery red Do Qi light mirror, and sparks fluttered suddenly, and the sky deep in the demonic beast mountains also shook slightly. Behind the milky white dragon, Xiao Yang also stared at Wu Huan, and then slowly touched the heavy ruler behind him with his left hand. Under the protection of the fiery red light mirror, Wu Huan also held a long sword in his hand, and then the tip of the sword pointed to the place where Xiao Yang was. This sword is called Prisoner Yuan, and before you, you have killed a lot of heaven's favored people. You can die on this sword, and you will not waste your name as a first-rank alchemist. And I'm also very interested in the flame on your body. After that, Wu Huan's long sword tip, there was a circle of high-speed rotating wind blades, like a cyan sphere covered with blades. Is it? I didn't expect you to know so much, and I'm also a little interested in you. After Xiao Yang said, the dou qi all over his body suddenly revolved, and the fenju in his body was running at a high speed. With Xiao Yang, prisoner. A passionate voice resounded from the depths of the Warcraft Mountains. The voice just fell, and the long sword in Wu Huan's hand soared several times, emitting a grey light, and a monstrous weather emerged, and then Wu Huan did not hesitate. It turned directly into a meteor, and ignored where Xiao Yang was. Die. Wu Huan came a few meters in front of Xiao Yang in an instant, and found that Xiao Yang did not move, as if he had given up resistance, and then snorted coldly. Although this Xiao Yang is only in the middle stage of the 3-star fighting emperor, his refining skills are at the level of the emperor, and his soul strength is not weak, although he does not know what they want this soul for. Seeing Xiao Yang with his eyes closed, the long sword in Wu Huan's hand didn't stay too long, and the strange long sword in his hand suddenly trembled. A small, deep light almost the size of a thumb immediately shot out. Just as the light appeared, the space trembled a few times. The terrifying light attacked Xiao Yang, who was close at hand. Feeling the terrifying light that was so close at hand, Xiao Yang also suddenly opened his eyes, and then took off the heavy ruler behind him instantly. A giant dragon in a deep sleep suddenly woke up, and the powerful force and the terrifying light merged viciously together. 7th layer breaking the sky ruler. Destroy the enemy with 1 foot. Break it for me. In the face of this terrifying martial arts attack, Xiao Yang also snorted coldly, and then raised the ancient ruler of different fire in his hand. As the milky white flame energy around his body fluctuated more and more violently, a trace of substantive fiery energy suddenly emerged from nothingness. It penetrated out of the space, and finally wrapped around Xiao Yang's body, spinning wildly. With the rotation of these energies, a gust of wind suddenly emerged and swept out in all directions. The big tree in the sky is trembling. The flame divides the wave ruler. With Xiao Yang's loud shout, the originally pitch-black, heavy ruler also burst into gorgeous colors, and then Xiao Yang raised the heavy ruler with both hands and faced the oncoming long sword light. Violently hacked past. A scorching, terrifying power radiated from the ancient ruler of the eternal fire, and then formed a shockwave as high as 100 meters, whistling away, at the light of the long sword that was blowing in the face. Hoo. The heavy ruler and the light just touched each other, and then the light resisted for a few seconds, and then instantly wilted at a speed visible to the naked eye. The shockwave also attacked the martial illusion with a long sword in his hand like a broken bamboo. Wu Huan's face also darkened at this time. He had obviously underestimated Xiao Yang's strength before, because Wu Huan also found that the moment he took off the heavy ruler from behind Xiao Yang's aura instantly soared. The pinnacle of Samsung Do Di. Wu Huan's smile that he had won the ticket was also lost in front of Xiao Yang, who was suddenly at the peak of the 3-star Do Di. How is that possible? Wu Huan looked at Xiao Yang in disbelief. But at this moment, he couldn't care about so much. Wu Huan snorted coldly, and then his whole body was filled with fiery red aura, like a long sword in his hand. Above the long sword, another beam of light that was stronger than before attacked Xiao Yang. ~1.chi.1z.c. Wu Huan is also clear that facing Xiao Yang, who is also at the peak of the 3-star Do Di, if he doesn't work hard, he will end up. Boom, boom, boom. Another wave of terrifying attacks. This time, the light of the long sword wielded by Wu Huan was once again dissipated by the flame shockwave. However, Wu Huan returned to normal after a brief surprise, and then he also had a plan in his heart. Since this is the case, then he can only use his strongest means. Wu Huan believes that even if this Xiao Yang is jumping, he will not be able to do it. It is not worth mentioning even under his strongest attack. After receiving Xiao Yang's terrifying attack, Wu Huan's arm jerked violently, and then the long sword pointed diagonally at the sky, and then the long sword suddenly pointed at Xiao Yang with the sound of breaking wind. The terrifying dark energy spilled into the ground along the air, and immediately, the surrounding trees and boulders turned into powder in an instant. Prisoner bird. A thunderous shout suddenly sounded, and at the tip of the long sword, a fiery red grudge like a mountain torrent erupted. The overwhelming fiery red light, with an incomparably sharp and piercing sound, pierced through the space like lightning and shot directly at Xiao Yang in the distance. Wherever the fiery red light passed, the entire sky trembled slightly. The full blow of this martial arts is so terrifying. Xiao Yang's jet-black pupils were almost shrouded in a fiery red sword light that covered the sky and the ground. As the primary target, Xiao Yang could feel what a terrifying and fierce offensive contained within that fiery red sword light. However, this is the case, Xiao Yang also has absolute confidence. Any offensive will have to dissipate under his own strange fire. A mouthful of slightly hot air was deeply sucked into his lungs. Xiao Yang took a slow and strong step forward in that mid-air. He held the ancient ruler of eternal fire in his hand high above his head. On his arms, the blue veins were exposed, like a wriggling line. Like a snake. The next moment, Xiao Yang's arm trembled, and the ancient ruler of eternal fire in his hand suddenly fell. Two wild shouts suddenly sounded, and immediately, above the heavy ruler, a huge milky white ruler, 100 feet tall, shot out with a terrifying potential like a broken bamboo. The moment Chimang shot out, the space was like a lake that was thrown into a boulder, and there was a huge fluctuation. The originally intact earth, a 100-meter wide crack, spread rapidly along the trajectory of Chimang. The gigantic milky, white 100-jong kaimang flashed out of Xiao Yang's hands like a lightning, and wherever he went along the way, the tiny energy from the kaimang's light overflowed, directly causing the surrounding space to be shattered. In the sky, 100-jong-sized fiery red dazzling sword light occupies half of the sky, and it is also a 100-jong milky white red glow, which shoots straight out like a crescent moon. Two extremely terrifying attacks are about to start a crash like a meteorite collision. In mid-air, the milky white ruler light and the fiery red sword light finally collided fiercely in the next moment. However, the collision in the sky was not the shocking explosion that resounded through the sky as imagined, but strangely, there was no sound at all. The sky is like the milky white and the fiery red that two groups of water of different colors are fighting back and forth. Although this confrontation is extremely quiet and silent, the space becomes extremely distorted where the two terrifying energies come into contact. An unreal, eerie feeling. In this quiet place in the depths of the Warcraft Mountains, there is a faint hissing sound coming from the energy fighting back and forth in mid-air, milky white and fiery red, like two huge clouds, covering the sky deep in the Warcraft Mountains. The seemingly peaceful confrontation, but they all hold the idea of devouring the other side. Xiao Yang stared at the two huge groups of energy in the mid-air, behind that 100 feet of light. His whole person was as if he had collapsed, his face was slightly pale as paper, and his body was swaying. If he had not touched the ground with a heavy ruler in his hand, he would have been unable to stabilize his body, and could only fall from the air. Down. Obviously, this time, he completely used the 7th layer of breaking the sky ruler, and the 1st layer, and completely squeezed out the last trace of vindictiveness in Xiao Yang's body. Fortunately, Xiao Yan was an alchemist, and as soon as he landed, he took out several medicinal pills from the ring, and devoured it under Wu Huan's envious gaze. Compared with Xiao Yang, Wu Huan was not so lucky. He fell from mid-air in an instant. Yu reading was no better than Xiao Yang, but his face was the same. Pale as paper, he stared nervously at the energy that the two groups in the air were constantly eroding and swallowing each other. The eyes of the two of them at this time stayed in the air. For a while, deep in the demonic beast mountains, they seemed to be waiting for the result of the confrontation between the two energy groups with extremely terrifying destructive power. The two milky white ruler glows and fiery red sword glows that were constantly swallowing and entangled in the sky were abruptly like boiling water, fluctuating violently, and immediately the two of energy suddenly swelled in the eyes of the two of them. Looking at the two huge groups of energy that suddenly and strangely swelled up, for some reason, the two of them felt a sense of unease. When the expansion reached a certain critical point, the two huge energies suddenly stopped all movements, and the strange deep luster, like a tiny light spot, suddenly appeared. With the appearance of the strange luster, the space suddenly fluctuated. Xiao the strongest blows of Yang, and Wu Huan seemed to have a little mutation between the contact and swallowing each other, and in this situation, even they themselves feel extremely dazed and surprised. The spot of light rapidly expanded in the two groups of energy. At the end, the spot of light became more and more dazzling, and the fluctuations in the space became more and more violent at this moment. The dazzling light shone from the sky. When the energy of the sky and the earth was rampant, the milky white and fiery red energy group finally couldn't bear the change of energy. Suddenly, a thunderous explosion, carrying an extremely terrifying storm, came from the air. It swept out from the middle, the storm passed, and the space oscillated. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying milky white ruler glow and fiery red sword glow finally exploded completely. A circle of ripples spread from the place where the milky white ruler orn and the fiery red sword orn meet. The originally silent mountain range of beasts is also bursting into flames at this moment. The roars and roars of the sky are constantly coming from all directions. In the demonic beast mountains, Xiao Yang's figure also quickly retreated. At the same time as he retreated, a delicate jade bottle appeared in his hand. There were several exquisite medicinal pills in the jade bottle, and he quickly stuffed the medicinal pills into his mouth. In the middle of the game, he successively used the Buddha's Fury Fire Lotus and the most terrifying seven-layered sky-breaking ruler, which was also quite a huge consumption for him, and at the same time, he also used his soul power to condense the Huangquan Tianwu, taking advantage of Wu Huan. When resisting the terrifying Caimans that couldn't sense the surrounding situation, it quietly exerted and detonated the power of Baizhong radiance that broke the sky. In the fierce battle, Xiao Yang's sudden anger caused Wu Huan's soul to be attacked viciously, so he was sluggish for a second, and then Wu Huan could have escaped from the center of the explosion. This soul attack was wrong. At this time, Wu Huan was also completely swept by Xiao Yang into the most destructive area. After Xiao Yang's several attacks, even a strong man, who has truly reached the 4-star Do Di, will definitely fall into serious injuries if he is caught off guard. Xiao Yang knew all about the power of one specifically attacked the soul, and the other possessed a destructive power like destruction. The three combined into one, the power was terrifying. The storm was like a natural disaster in the void, frantically releasing a terrifying temperature and a destructive shock wave. That kind of shock, even Xiao Yang, did not dare to be easily touched. Although the power of the 7th layer breaking sky ruler and the Buddha's Fury Fire Lotus are extremely powerful, the strength of Wu Huan is also extremely tyrannical. In addition, this person is a little weird. I am afraid it is difficult to kill him. Xiao Yang's figure was quickly retreating. At the same time, his eyes flashed rapidly. Roar! And just when this thought passed through Xiao Yang's heart, the huge flame storm in the distance trembled violently, and the speed of rotation actually gradually slowed down. Then, it was filled with crazy killing intent. The sound of roaring roars came from the flame storm. Sure enough, he didn't die. Hearing the roar of rage, Xiao Yan's heart sank slightly. He wanted to kill a 3-star Do Emperor peak powerhouse with one blow. It seemed a bit whimsical. However, since he was promoted, he has not been able to stabilize his realm, so it is also difficult to deal with martial arts. Bang! Not long after the roar of rage sounded, huge claws of dozens of feet stepped out from the storm fiercely. Immediately, a ***** figure was forcibly swept out of the flame storm. Blood-red eyes, filled with incomparable resentment, stared at Xiao Yan in the distance. This figure was the original majestic Wu Huan. At this time, he looked extremely embarrassed. On the originally slender figure, blood was flowing like a stream, and deep wounds were covering him like a ditch. The body, vaguely, can still see the white bones in the wound. Obviously, although this guy survived the terrifying power of Huang Quan Tian's anger and the 7-layered sky-shattering ruler, he also paid a great price for this. Little bastard, die for this young master. Wu Huan's face was hideous, he coughed violently, his mouthful of blood was spit out by the terrifying force, his arm turned into a huge energy slap, and he slapped Xiao Yan's head fiercely. Go down. Xiao Yan can also feel that the Wu Huan at this time is only the end of the force, and this attack is too weak, and it is scattered away with a wave. Under the effect of obtaining the medicinal pill, Xiao Yan's strength was also partially restored, and he was too busy to deal with several large and small scars on his body. So he walked slowly towards the place where Wu Huan was located. Since this is the case, then there is still the principle of letting the tiger return to the mountain. Xiao Yan also muttered to himself. Xiao Yanzi, be careful, I always feel that something is not right. The Golden Dragon King also stared at Wu Huan and said. Xiao Yan slowly approached Wu Huan, and the eyes above Wu Huan's ***** figure also looked very ferocious, as if something was waiting for an opportunity on his forehead. This is. The sudden change made Xiao Yan stunned for a moment, and then he quickly regained his senses. Just as he was about to dodge in a hurry, an extremely gloomy pitch-black light suddenly flashed across his eyeballs. Sure. The jet-black light swept across and shot Xiao Yan's shocked gaze back, because he saw that there seemed to be something on Wu Huan's forehead. It's actually a blood curse. The Golden Dragon King exclaimed from the ring. Huh. Hearing this, Xiao Yan also frowned tightly. Apparently it was the first time he heard of this so-called blood curse. What exactly is it? I didn't expect to encounter a blood curse in this small Wucheng. The infiltration of this alien race is really deep. The Golden Dragon King also said in a Vicissitudes of Life. Master, although I don't know what this blood mantra is, I am a disciple of teacher Tuo Shi and your nephew. This will never change. Xiao Yan also smiled slightly and looked at the master Jinlong Wangdao, who was hesitant to say anything. Ha ha ha, I'll be at ease with your words. The aliens are suppressed and sealed outside the Dacian world, but they keep trying to erode our Dacian world. So there are greedy humans who are loyal to the aliens in the Dacian world. This blood curse is a kind of extraterrestrial. It is a secret method used by the evil race to control them. It is a secret technique that enables those loyal to them to increase their strength through blood curses. However, its price is too heavy. The aftereffects are also quite terrifying. To be planted with this blood curse is equivalent to serving the aliens for the rest of your life, for eternity. Even the soul must be driven by the aliens but these people can also get them. What you want, strong strength or something, but in the final analysis, it is impossible to escape the end of being swallowed by that foreign evil race. And look at the rune on Wu Huan's forehead, there are 3 bloodshots. The blood spells are divided into 7 grades. The first and second grades are the most common, the third and fourth grades are somewhat extraordinary, and the fifth and sixth grades are people trusted by the evil tribes outside the territory. As for the 7th grade, it has not appeared for a long time. The driver of the 7th level blood curse is close to the pinnacle of Dodi, and he has a place even in the alien race. The Golden Dragon King also looked at the 3-color blood curse on Wu Huan's forehead and said slowly, "I can't believe that this Wu Huan is the owner of the 3-color blood curse. So it means that their family has a certain position in the foreign evil clan, and they can't stay." Xiao Yan also recovered in a brief shock, and then his body vindictiveness slowed down. Slowly wrapping his palms, he walked away towards Wu Huan, who was close at hand. "Xiao Yang, do you think you can kill me like this? It's too naive." Ha ha ha. Wu Huan also looked at the flaming palm that suddenly came, and then he was not afraid at all, and said with a grim smile on his face. Wu Huan's voice just fell, and then the 3-color bloodshot on his forehead seemed to feel the deadly threat, and then a thick dark light emerged. Black rays of light emerged, and Wu Huan's originally seriously injured and dying body was slowly healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Because of Xiao Yang's background, the consumption just now is not small, and it will not be able to restore the peak in a short time. The seemingly tyrannical palm attack is easily resolved by the dark light of Wu Huan. Go back. This demonic energy is not something you can handle now. A careless move is very troublesome, the Golden Dragon King said suddenly. Hearing that, Xiao Yang also distanced himself from this martial arts. There was also a slight smile on Wu Huan's grim face. The pitch-black fighting qi slowly repaired Wu Huan's dying body, and then the fighting qi in his body recovered a little. He immediately lowered his head and stared at Xiao Yang. Obviously this time he underestimated Xiao Yang's strength, but fortunately he has blood. The power of the incantation, otherwise it would be a lot of mischief. Go back. Seeing the huge pitch-black orn repairing his body, Wu Huan also shouted loudly, and then the pitch-black grudge slowly retreated to his forehead. After doing all this, Wu Huan carefully recalled the battle just now, but he was defeated for a long time, and he almost lost it. At this moment, Wu Huan also had a retreat in his heart. He had dared to fight Xiao Yang before. On the one hand, it is because Xiao Yang is a person wanted by that force, and he has a 3-color blood curse on himself, and he is confident in himself. He came to fall into the trap, but he never expected that the current Xiao Yang was completely different from what he saw in the initial attack. Just the endless variety of methods made his heart tremble. It seems that we can only retreat first. Presumably, the good fortune in this ruin was also obtained by him, but since he killed and absorbed the soul power collected by the envoy, the people of that force will inevitably find trouble with this kid. I'll save the time and kill this kid again. This thought flashed through his heart, and Wu Huan finally decided to stop fighting. He looked up at Xiao Yang, who seemed to be plundering again, and retreated sharply, wanting to retreat into the depths of the chaotic beast mountain range. Middle. Humph, where to go? However, just as Wu Huan stepped back, an icy voice suddenly sounded behind him, and at the same instant, there was an extremely hot and terrifying wind. The sudden attack made Wu Huan's complexion change, and his body turned around quickly like a conditioned reflex, and his palms filled with fiery red grudge hurriedly greeted him. Bang bang bang. The fierce wind suddenly spread out at this moment, and Wu Huan, who rushed to meet the enemy, suddenly felt suffocated in his chest, and his body was shaken back more than 10 meters, standing where he had previously backed away. Xiao Yang. Looking at the figure, Wu Huan suddenly gritted his teeth. Although Wu Huan has a 3-color blood curse, he is also very clear that once he really uses the power of this blood curse, his future will be over. When he thinks that he will be driven by that evil person every day in the future, Wu Huan. I feel very uncomfortable. Xiao Yang's face was expressionless, milky white flames lingered around his body, making him look like a fire god, stepping on the void, step by step towards Wu Huan. Damn. Xiao Yang, don't force me, otherwise. Seeing Xiao Yang's appearance, Wu Huan couldn't help narrowing his eyes and said coldly. The corners of Xiao Yang's mouth raised a sharp arc, and the vast milky, white grudge quickly condensed in the palm of his hand. You still want to kill me with your strength, that you don't even have in the middle stage of the 3-star Do Di. Wu Huan laughed angrily. When his face changed, he hurriedly turned around to meet him, his palms danced, and his powerful fighting chi formed an airtight energy network in front of him. Bang bang bang. Xiao Yang didn't care about anything else, he swung his fist, and every time he swung it, there would be a piercing, sharp wind-breaking sound, the space cracked, and dark cracks appeared. Bang bang bang. In the face of Xiao Yang's fierce offensive, Wu Huan also secretly complained in his heart, and his figure kept retreating. Xiao Yang's current strength almost suppressed him to the point where he could only defend. If this continues, sooner or later it will fall into Xiao Yang's hands. It seems that we can't entangle any more, boy. This account will be remembered by young Master Ben, and you will pay it back sooner or later. Wu Huan screamed viciously in his heart, and the palm of his hand suddenly increased, forcibly shaking Xiao Yang's body away. Offensive, the toes are a little empty, and the figure is flying upside down. Suddenly speeding up, the figure was in the air. Wu Huan just breathed a sigh of relief. A dangerous feeling suddenly filled out from the depths of his heart, and the cold hairs all over his body stood upright at this moment. Huangquan refers to Huangquan palm. Just when Wu Huan's heart was filled with a sense of danger, a slight cold shout brought a little cold wind, and it sounded like a ghost in Wu Huan's ear. Not good. Feeling the movement behind him, Wu Huan's face was instantly pale, and Xiao Yang's speed was faster than he expected. Bang! The Wu Huan who reacted, only the remaining fighting and rushing surging in the body, but it has not completely formed a defensive shield behind him. A milky white handprint and fingerprint about the size of a slap quietly landed on his back. On the top, the terrifying energy gushed out like the Xiong River at this moment. Boom boom boom. Xiao Yang's attack hole went straight through Wu Huan's back. Cough, cough, cough. A weak feeling came from Wu Huan's whole body. Looking at the hole about the size of a fist in his chest, blood flowed out like a stream. It's time to end. Since you are in the company of that foreign evil race, then I will send you to hell. Although Xiao Yang had not seen the so-called foreign evil clan with his own eyes, he knew from the mouth of his master Jin Longwang that the foreign evil clan was an unforgivable person, and he was ruthless in the face of Wu Huan. Raising the heavy ruler in his hand, he revived his recovered vindictiveness, and then slashed viciously at the place where Wu Huan was staying. Now both of them are seriously injured. This blow is enough to kill Wu Huan. The Kion on the ancient ruler of Yihuaheng slashed viciously towards Wu Huan. Wu Huan also struggled desperately, but his severely injured body couldn't walk at all. Attacked. Wu Huan also gritted his teeth slightly, and then a flash of determination flashed in his eyes. Obviously he was going to use the last resort. Seeing that dozens of feet of light approached the seriously injured and dying Wu Huan, a familiar aura appeared in front of Xiao Yang. Chiang Chiang. A black chain appeared directly in front of Wu Huan, and the dozens of feet of light were instantly resisted. Jia Jia, worthy of being an imperial alchemist, your soul power should be quite delicious. Under a black cloak, a sinister sneer came out. Soul Clan. Xiao Yang also shrank his pupils tightly, and then looked solemnly at the man in the black cloak beside Wu Huan. Because he felt the same blood power from the man in black as the people in the Soul Hall of Do Chi continent. This video will end here.